Today I fucked up. My wife nearly died during the birth of my son 3 months ago. He was born very premature and he's had some physical challenges. We took him on his first flight, and he was really well behaved. What did I choose to watch? Finding Nemo. Very, very stupid choice. Too long didn't read. I was holding on to a lot of trauma, and the emotion came pouring out. She had preeclampsia, which is not totally rare. But she only exhibited a headache and none of the other features until her blood pressure shot through the roof. He was born shortly after we were admitted to the hospital, and while it was the happiest day of my life, I haven't really had the chance to fully deal with the trauma of walking into a hospital thinking my pregnant wife would get a shot to quell a headache, only to having to confront the reality of possibly walking out alone. I chose not to focus on any of that. Instead, I put my head down and concentrated on the things we could control. He was in the NICU for several weeks, and every day we had to be strong parents for our son fighting for his life. And of course, once he graduated from the NICU, we suddenly had a baby to turn into a full-grown human. The lack of sleep is real. Plus, postpartum and the grief of not experiencing the full term has been very difficult for my wife. Meanwhile, I'm a freelance artist who has been getting a lot of work recently after a very dry few months. Basically, I've had absolutely no time to slow down and think about everything. This was a transcontinental flight. He was marvelous. Slept almost the whole way, even after our flight was delayed for 7 hours and we spent the entire day at the airport. My wife had held him most of the flight while I caught up on some work. But when her back was aching, I took him and I looked for something to watch. I didn't want anything too stressful, and I thought, Finding Nemo has that Thomas Newman score and the blue and orange will be soothing. I had completely forgotten about the beginning. Really, really dumb. But I couldn't turn it off, even as the snot out volumed the tears. In a sense, it was like an ice bath. At first, it stabbed me like 1,000 knives, but once I relaxed and let it wash over me, I felt that part of me begin to heal. We're both starting therapy because we have a man to make, and we can't be good parents without being ones who are as healthy as possible. This is just the beginning as a parent. But, I can't help but think that maybe Finding Nemo helped me figure out just how much I'd been holding inside. Which is coincidentally kinda the whole point of the film, letting go. Edit, I just woke up, and when I sat down to feed him his morning bottle, I realized my phone was going crazy. This is crazy. I can't believe how much this has blown up. Thank you everyone for your words of encouragement. I cannot adequately express how much that means to us. Also, to answer a little bit of a fair question, this is FU because I didn't really choose the right venue for this, or stop to think that Pixar is pretty much synonymous with sobbing. Planes already heighten our insecurities, so choosing a film that will surely make me cry in that environment was not a great choice. We're both starting therapy because we have a man to make, and we can't be good parents without being ones who are as healthy as possible. As someone raised by parents with mental issues, parents who could have really used some professional help, this is a heroic step, as far as I'm concerned. Sounds like you're going to do great. Babies do all kinds of stuff to your brain. Sleep deprivation can literally make you crazy, and travel is another stress in its own. You guys sound like you're doing great despite a lot of stress and challenge. Sometimes your mind blocks out those scary moments for survival. But it is so healthy to deal with that stuff. Just don't watch Bambi yet. Or really any other Disney movie, lol, they always kill off the family. Congrats on transcontinental travel with an infant. I barely wanted to take mine on a 2-hour car ride. Smiley face. My son almost died in labor. I had shoulder dystocia. He came out lifeless and blue. For some reason I was not affected at all, but my husband was traumatized. He saw it. I didn't see the really bad part. Similar here. My uterus ruptured and son was born not breathing. My husband had 15 minutes of not knowing if either of us would survive. I was unconscious and missed the worst of it. Dude, I feel this so much. My wife gave birth 6 weeks early via emergency C-section after going unresponsive in labor and delivery after some typical pregnancy symptoms. We still don't know what happened and why her blood pressure dropped to 55/30. Our kid spent 29 days in the NICU. But man, do I know how you feel. Your entire life changing in an instant with no idea what was going to happen next. Anyways, if you ever want to chat about this shit, hit me up. I cried at the end of Toy Story 3 like a blubbering baby. The part when Andy gives his toys to Bonnie. That generosity hit him hard and reminded me of my dad who had just passed away a few weeks prior. It just broke the dam and it all came out. I can't even bring myself to watch Coco, but I know it deals with death and I know it's gonna hit me in the feels. Damn Pixar. I watched Coco after losing 3 grandparents in the space of 6 months. I suggest you wait. Today I fucked up giving my 17-year-old nephew advice on how to meet women. A few weeks ago I flew out to Fresno to visit my younger sister and her family since I haven't seen them in 4 years. The first night in town was wonderful and wholesome. They gave me a quick tour of the local sites and we ended up at a local restaurant for a family dinner. The conversation was mostly about family stuff and how the boys were doing in school. The older son, Alec, was enjoying thus far his senior year at HS and enjoyed a healthy social life, dating often. On the other hand is my nephew Dan, who does very well academically but has zero game with the ladies. When I pressed him as to why, he admitted he had a hard time approaching them, and mostly stuttered and blushed. Alec chimed in with the fact his brother seemed to fancy more robust girls, which sent the table laughing with the exception of my sister and Dan. Being the cool uncle, I let the matter drop until my sister excused herself to use the ladies' room. As she walked away, Elle leaned over and offered a bit of advice from my Marine Corps days. If he liked big, then he needed to go to a place where big is not judged. But don't go empty-handed. I suggested finding a clothing store that accommodates plus sizes and bring along some snacks as an icebreaker. Now that I think of it, I was about 4 cocktails into the evening and the snickering coming from my brother-in-law and nephew should have been an omen of sorts. So the topic dropped after Sis returned, and that was pretty much my first evening. A few days later it occurred to all of us Dan was leaving the house early in the day and was returning much later at night in uncommonly good moods. When his mother inquired, he explained about gaming with the friends and so on. I, however, was not buying it. I pulled him aside and got the truth. The boy explained after some trial and error there was a strip mall in town that had both a chicken shack as well as a reputable plus-sized women's clothing store. He would buy a bucket of chicken tenders and eat on the hood of his car, chatting up women as they walked by. He met a girl and they had been seeing each other. I was happy I could help and could not believe it actually worked. However, things went south. A few days after my return to the East Coast, I received a very emotional call from my sister. She explained between curses lobbed at me she had went clothing shopping one day and when she went to enter the store there was a "Have you seen this man" flyer on the door. It was a grainy surveillance photo of Dan sitting on the hood of his car with a bucket of chicken and a 2-liter of soda. The flyer warned of a man/youth approaching women as they tried to shop, and though he had been warned off, he still may be a threat. When she confronted the boy, he rolled on me and his father played ignorant. Now Dan is grounded until the threat of restraining orders die down, and I told I am not invited for Christmas. Poor Dan can't go out to see his new girlfriend and blames me for that as well. Too long didn't read. I royally fucked up by telling my 17-year-old nephew to meet big girls by hanging out in front of women's plus-sized stores with food, causing him to be forever grounded and causing possible restraining orders, as well as me no longer invited to my sister's. Hey there. Good looking. I got a bucket of chicken. Wanna do it? I am not one of your fried chicken tramps. Seduce me. On the unethical bright side, Dan probably doesn't blame you and is upset with his mom instead. Sitting on the hood of his car with a bucket of chicken and a 2-liter of soda, chatting up plus-sized women. This is one of the best stories I've read on Reddit. Thank you. Give it another 5 years, and this will be a fucking legend in your family, Lamau. Bit of advice from my Marine Corps days. So get married 4 months in and buy a car with a high APR. Today I fucked up by putting a thong that was not my wife's in her underwear drawer. This happened 2 days ago. So last week I found a thong on the floor in my living room. Smelt it like the animal I am, was clean, and put it in my wife's underwear drawer. 2 days ago in the evening, my wife is getting ready to go take a bath, when she comes down 2 minutes later asking me where the hell does this thong come from. Ha! I found it on the floor, surely it fell from the laundry basket. It was clean, so I put it in your drawer. Angrily, she answers it's not hers. I tell her what the hell am I supposed to say. She goes back upstairs really angry at me. So last week my wife was out of town for work and a female friend of mine came take a beer with me. I sent her a picture of the thong, asking if it hers. It is. We're both a bit confused as to how it ended in my living room. We came to the conclusion maybe it got stuck at whatever she was wearing that night by static electricity while it was in the dryer. Now the real fuck up. My wife is in the bed. I go tell her that my friend was here last week to take a beer. Just texted her and the thong is hers. The only explanation we managed to find it's that it was stuck by static at her clothes. You want me to believe that? That makes no sense. Jesus Christ, I don't even believe my explanation myself. I tell her to believe what she wants. I don't fucking know how the thong appeared in my living room, that I don't have anything to redeem myself. I take some clothes and go sleep at my parents' home. The next morning she calls me. She tells me that she decided to believe in my stupid story, because the thong was indeed clean and it's logical that I put it in her drawer. And if I was cheating on her, I'd be fucking stupid to put my mistress' panties in her drawer. Asked me to come home and we laughed a lot after that. Too long didn't read, found my friend's thong on the floor in my living room, put it in my wife's underwear drawer. Almost lost my wife to it. Edit, OMG it exploded. Thanks for the silver mystery redditors. I know a bunch of you called me a liar and a cheater, that's ultimately your right. Had fun with the others that told similar stories. Smile. And yes, I told my friend that I sniffed her panties, asked her what her fabric softener was. Edit 2, the thong in question. Edit 3, wow thanks for the gold. I answered to a bunch of you, but I'll not be able to keep up. There's too many comments. I hope you guys have a nice day. Edit 4, addressing some comments. No, I don't think my friend did it on purpose to have my wife divorce me so she can have me all for herself. Yes, I have the right to hang out with other women, and have a drink with them. My wife also has the right to hang out with other men and have a drink with them. Finally, my friend's fabric softener is fleecy. My older sister spoke at a company conference. It was winter. She had traveled with a friend of hers. She wore her coat. When she got up to speak, everyone was smiling at her and she thought it was because she had done such a great job with the presentation. It was her friend's dirty panties stuck to the velcro of her coat. Has she recovered from this yet? Could have told her it was yours. I bought it on eBay. Did you tell your friend you sniffed her panties? Of course I did. I know a guy whose wife found a condom wrapper in the dryer and he had no idea how it got there. Never found a good explanation, but it really wasn't his. That took a while to get over. Everyone knows a dryer is a wormhole to another dryer. My friend's mom had something similar happen. Babysitter started her period while watching youngest sibling. Called her sister for a change of clothes. Washed her stuff and accidentally left underwear and sweatpants in the dryer. A few days later his mom found them and assumed her husband was cheating. She left for a few days. Babysitter came to the house to get the clothes she left and apologize. Husband made her call his wife on the spot to explain. It's funny now. Wasn't funny then. I mean, I get where the wife was coming from with thinking that, but at the same time, take a fucking step back and think about the accusations you are about to make to ruin a whole family. Lol, goddamn.